But then did you notice, and it was very well done, what I'm about to talk about. It was very well done and very well edited. The Sika video, and certainly called for. But I had the first reaction I had when it kept going was if the bloodline angle wasn't on top, would Sika have gotten a longer tribute video than Bruno Sammartino or Roddy Piper?
Than anyone in the history of wrestling, I think.
Yes, because they gave him close to 5 minutes, which, and I'm not arguing, but considering their prior track record, it was more lengthy than normal. But they have a lot of the footage and obviously had comments in the can about a variety of their Hall of Famers from some of the top talents, so they were able to put this together, but they went the whole way with it. The marquee at the Garden had the Sika tribute lit up when people are, going through the train station there, what Penn Station, and this big long video and a lot of acknowledgement of it in all of their social media. So I think the bloodline angle certainly helped spark interest in Afa and Sika and the whole family at this point.
There's no other reason to think that they would have made such an effort to pay tribute to him.
Such an effort. But it was nice.
It was very nice. I'm not saying it wasn't, but like you said, I can't think, Randy Savage had a few minute long video.
Yeah.
And he was a main eventer. Sika got a bigger video than he got the thing in front of Madison Square Garden.
Then Piper, then Bruno, then
I mean,
anybody.
It stands out. I'll just say that.
But anyway, but that's a thing, and honestly, I had much more interaction personally with Afa than I ever had with Sika, because Afa, at the time that I was, in the office up there and living up there, Afa was based out of Allentown, or was it a small suburb, but near Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And whereas Sika had already moved back in the 80s to Pensacola. So I'd met Sika a few times, but again, Afa's the one I had more interaction with. And he's been in ill health over the past few months from what we've heard. So with back surgery and some other things. So I hope he's doing well. But, the Wild Samoans for 15 years were one of the top teams across the country. They went almost everywhere. They didn't work for Vern. They didn't work for Jerry Jarrett in Tennessee. I never got to see them in person during their day, but they were big on the West Coast. In San Francisco, obviously, they were on top numerous times in New York. They worked Georgia for a period of time. They were Mid-South. Did they make Texas? I can't remember. Did they get to Dallas on that run? Probably not. And I think they did. No, they didn't work for Crockett in the Carolinas because they worked for the IWA in the 70s, right? The opposition group.
They were the Islanders, right?
Yes. With, I think for a while, Saul Weingroff, if I'm not mistaken. Or was that the other team of Samoans?
See, I'm confused if that was the other Islanders.
That was T.O. and Reno, which apparently there was some heat over when they started using the similar names. But anyway, they were a top tag team and drew a lot of money, especially in the Northeast. And as we know from Young Rock, one of their big programs was with Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas, right? Was that their last run as tag team champions?
That was their last run as tag team champions. I wouldn't say that was one of their biggest runs because Rocky and Tony Atlas, because they hated each other, didn't actually team up that much. But they turned babyface after that. They had a brief babyface run, including one of my favorite matches. If anyone ever wants to see it, it's ridiculous, but I love it. October 84, Afa versus Dick Murdoch at Madison Square Garden. It's on their Peacock.
Well, I can imagine.
But then they left and they worked Pro Wrestling USA, I think it was, at the Meadowlands. And then Sika came back. And Sika had another run as a single as part of Remember when King Curtis came in as a manager, the Wizard?
Yes.
Well, he was part of that, and he even had a main event match with Hulk Hogan. And that was kind of the end of them. But, the Mid-South run, there's a lot of footage of, or at least there's some footage of. The WWF run, which is kind of a couple of runs, starting in 1980, they have all that footage.
Well, and of course, the story how they got involved in the business is famous in that when Peter Maivia got over in San Francisco, and to some degree because of I've been to the Cow Palace, and only as a WWF performer when people had calmed down, but I can't imagine the thought of the heels trying to leave that ring in the 60s on a sellout for Roy Shire with heat, and even with the whole San Francisco Police Department trying to get back to the locker room alive. I can't, because it's a big building with a giant floor. You got to walk a long way, and you got to make some angle turns. And that's all a recipe for fucking disaster. So the Samoan contingent that was going to the matches, and the Cow Palace is not in downtown San Francisco. Brian, is it Daly City?
I'm not sure.
That it's in? It's, at least when I was there in the 90s, I would hesitate to guess to say it was that way earlier. Not the best neighborhood. You're getting a rowdy crowd. It was a promotion built around heat, and there was a Samoan babyface. So the story was that Afa and Sika and a number of members of their family started going to the matches at the Cow Palace and rooting for Maivia, and in the process, either about to kill or beating the shit out of or whatever all of Shire's top heels, to the point where they said, Maivia talk to these people, maybe fucking get them into business so we can smarten them up or whatever, and stop this. And can you imagine a young Afa and a young Sika, because what they looked like when they were in their 40s is bad, but a young Afa and a young Sika
beating up an old Paul DeMarco.
Yes, or just coming at you as angry marks instead of working wrestlers.
Well, remember, too, in terms of how frightening they were, the story was, I think it was Sika, during the Vince McMahon 1994 steroid trial on Long Island, Sika was admonished from the bench, or he was kicked out of the room. I don't remember what happened. He started mouthing to the jury, "Not guilty."
Yeah.
Not. Imagine that face.
With the wide-eyed, wild Samoan stare, right? Not guilty. Not guilty. It was some hoodoo to voodoo shit. Yeah, and remember, Sika was the one also that when they were going to put the belt on Roman Reigns in New Orleans?
No, was it San Francisco? Was it
San Francisco
home base? Yeah,
maybe whatever WrestleMania that was, and they changed their mind and didn't do it. There were reports that were tried to be downplayed later on that Sika was going to do something about that shit. He thought somebody said they didn't want to do a job, whatever. God damn it.
I think the original way we heard it, and I don't know if it's true or not, but the original way was Sika and other family members started to tear stuff up. Kayfabe lives.
But anyway, so obviously, Roman Reigns' father, for those who have not made the connection and we didn't mention it.
Yeah,
but,
if you see any of the pictures of him when they first started out before they had facial hair, again, different body types, it was a different world, but you could see the resemblance to Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Well, and Roman has been working out, and it's more modern times to begin with. And I mean, these guys, I'm not saying that they were some kind of lazy people. The Afa and Sika did not go to the gym to improve they already looked like that when they got into business. They just grew their hair longer. That was pretty much all they needed.
There's a great picture that goes, that I've seen going around, not just now, but in the past. And it kind of encapsulates that era of WWF as things went national. And it's like outside the TV taping in Pennsylvania. It's Afa and Sika with no shirt on, and Lou Albano with his shirt open and the biggest belly. And the Iron Sheik cut, all roided up, and they're barbecuing. They're cooking like burgers. And I'm like, that like sums up an era of WWF right there. Lou Albano and the Samoans barbecuing.
And who knows who they were barbecuing. But anyway, but no, we send our condolences out to the whole entire extended family, up and down the line, wherever they may be. But and hopefully Afa is, as we said, doing well. He's been under the weather, so we send our best out to him too.
Them with Captain Lou was a winning combination.
Captain Lou, actually, if body type resembled them, and he may have spoken English just almost as coherently as the wild Samoan savages.
See, that's a great era of Lou Albano, because if you watch not watch, but if you see any photos or any video even of when he first started managing, he was kind of dressed respectfully. By that point, he was such a slob, he would take on the personality of whoever he managed. So he managed the Moondogs, starts dressing like a Moondog. He manages the Samoans, starts dressing like the Samoans. He managed Fuji and Saito. He starts coming out there with a headband on and a jacket. So it was a fun period for Lou Albano. Him and the Samoans, though, on and off for, 4 or 5 years there, were a big combination up here.
Yeah, but boy, when he started managing that girls' team, what he wore then, oh my gosh. Anyway,